old business, item A, discussion by council whether other action on update by municipal building review task force. Should have a letter from me. There's a letter from me. On behalf of the task force, I'm recommending payment of invoice number 18017-16 dated October 4, 2019 from Saccoccio and Associates in the amount of $2,995.20. All work has been verified. A copy of the invoice is included. This is his monthly fee for doing construction administration and closeout. It's my recommendation that we pay that bill. That's a motion.
Second for discussion.
Seconded by Mrs. Zelinski and Mr. Ogier. Discussion.
Mr. President, on behalf of the task force, I am recommending the task force has reviewed these and you're following through with the recommendation. The task force has reviewed these.
This is his monthly fee of the contract that we've done.
Yep.
We haven't actually had an official meeting, but in order to keep the process moving, it's my recommendation that we pay it. It's a bill that's due. The task force agrees with us or not. All services have been, it's not, I've done this in the past. If you go back and look at other letters, I've done this in the past, where I have made the motion on behalf of the task force for payment of bills.
So I do have another question. Since we're talking about the letter here, and I'm fine with the $2,000, but the $744,580. Should we wait to talk about that one until we get to that bullet point, or can I do it up now?
Right now, we're talking about Saccocio's invoice.
Okay, I'm going to wait my comments on that.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Gargoyle?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
No.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadenais?
Yes. And then also, you'll see, also upon review and approval by Saccoccio and Associates and legal counsel Christopher Whitney, I am recommending payment of Pay Req number 5 from Calson Corp dated October 1st, 2019 in the amount of $744,580. Copies are included with this letter. If there are any questions, contact me. You have the Pay Req number 5 dated October 1st, invoice number 19-9355, and you do see that it is marked up from a different amount of what the contract was seeking. This contract was seeking $806,350.26. Recommendation coming from both Mr. Saccoccio and legal counsel was $774,580. That's why I forwarded the council for approval.
So can we, I'll make a motion to discuss, though. Is that a question?
The motion by Mr. Ogier for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to discuss.
No, motion. I was going to make a motion to discuss. Yeah.
Motion to discuss.
Motion to
Second to
discuss.
discuss.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski and Mrs. Discussion.
I yield to Mr. Ogier.
So I have a question here. So the letter from you was stated on behalf of the task force was October 17th, the 744. The cover sheet for the original invoice was from October 1st in the amount of 744. But then this other signed document from 10/1, which was notarized and signed, is for the $806,000. And then is it also the minus $35,305 as well? Why didn't we just cross off the number there rather than 744?
That is the number 774. It is 806 minus 305.
Okay. And then, so I guess I'm just confused as to if the task force hasn't had a chance to review this, why are we approving things that haven't been reviewed by this committee? I just feel like it sets us up for a slippery slope down the line.
That's why it's referenced in the letter that it's with the approval, with the review and approval of both the guy that's doing construction or the contract administration on this job and your legal counsel on this job.
So-
Both recommend payment of this. We have not had a meeting of the task force in between. So we need to continue to pay the project.
So I guess if these projects are so important, why aren't we meeting more frequently so that we can have timely review before it comes to the council?
There was no reason to meet just for a payment.
So David, I have a question for you then. Is this normal? Is this allowed essentially? I mean, it's a lot of money. It's almost $1 million. So how do we know that this is the best deal even possible? Like, how do we know 744 is the absolute cheapest? Essentially, this is going down. So I'm assuming we're trying to get cheaper on this invoice, right?
We've eliminated items that were not delivered that were being charged for. The reality of this is, it is still, total earned to date was $1.9 million. There's still $1.1 million that's owed, which is about a third of the job, better than a third of the job. And the job is probably 85% completion.
But who's making that determination? Is that Mr. Whitney? Is that you? Is that the task force? Like, who?
That's our architect. The town's architect is making that determination. He goes out and reviews the site, walks the site, reviews the site, what's on site, what's not on site. We reviewed it with Mr. Whitney for payment because there were issues that the task force had with the prior pay req that we're trying to resolve, and it's becoming a legal issue. So we involved him in it to get his recommendation going forward to do the pay req.
Okay, so essentially the task force doesn't need to review invoices for payment.
Normally we do. In this case, we didn't. Normally we review them as a committee. As you recall the last time, we had a full meeting. If you read the letters from the last time, we had a full meeting, and we actually rejected pay req number 4.
Right, which we voted on.
Well, you never saw the one that we rejected. Then it came back to you 2 weeks later, based on review of the architect and legal counsel, that we should be paying that invoice because it's creating legal issues for us if we don't. We don't give up our position on things, but it bolsters our case going forward. Without getting into all of the...
Yeah, I don't need to get into the details, but okay. That one, in that instance right there, you defined an example where the task force met, they reviewed it, there was discussion about it, it followed the line. Now this is a new one, and it's for $744,000. It's no small chunk of change. It just seems like that the task force should have had a chance to review this, considering this came at the beginning of the month. You guys haven't met since September 10th, so I get it that you guys aren't meeting as regularly, but it just seems like if we're going to speak on behalf of a committee, then the whole committee should have the chance to review it. Otherwise, it should just be part of a regular vote. No task force attached.
The task force only makes a recommendation to the council. The council can vote up or down on this. And because of time constraint and where we said, in order to get this on the agenda, I needed to take action because I couldn't post the meeting. We were waiting for review by the architect and legal counsel on what they want us to do to go forward. They reviewed it, approved it, and said, go ahead with this number. In order to get paid on this agenda, I needed to forward it on behalf of the committee. I can guarantee you, without a doubt, if you go and ask any of those other 4 members, can I do that? They will give you the authorization to say, yes, you can do that on our behalf. It's that.
Oh, I'm not doubting the people on the committee. My point was that if we're speaking on behalf of the committee, then and the committee has reviewed it, then we should at least be making sure that the committee reviewed it. That's all my point.
The committee hasn't reviewed.
Right. I get your point. I'm not going to argue with you.
The committee hasn't.
I get your point.
That's my point. I'm making this recommendation on behalf of the rest of the committee. It's not that the committee voted. You'll see when I do that. It will say in my letters, the committee voted on this date to recommend approval of this. This is not the case in this case. Because I am recommending on behalf of the task force as the chair, based on review by the architect and legal counsel, pay this pay req. Just what it says.
Right, I hear your argument. I was just making mine. That's all.
Mr. President, also goes back to the fact that we're not delaying or refusing payment on monies due in case that everyone wants to be questioned.
Correct?
So this,
I get that.
I know you
get that. My point
I
is,
just wanted to hear
I think if we know that these bills are coming up, we should at least be having a meeting to discuss them. If we have groups that are meeting to discuss these. That was all my point.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Barnolli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Call me?
I'm sorry?
Did you call me?
I can hear.
Oh, okay, because all I heard was Claire say yes.
Mr. Rozier?
No.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadenais?
Yes. Next item, tax stabilization agreement and development agreement by and between the Town of North Smithfield and one or more of the following related entities: Green Development LLC, GDIM 1 LLC, GDIM 2 LLC, and/or GDIM 3 LLC for property located at 1115 Iron Mine Road, designated as Plat 16, Lot 6. Tax stabilization agreement and development agreement by and between the Town of North Smithfield and one or more of the following related entities: Green Development LLC, GDIM 4 LLC, and/or GDIM 5 LLC for property located at 0 Iron Mine Road, designated as Plat 17, Lot 175. Tax stabilization agreement and development agreement by and between the Town of North Smithfield and one or more of the following related entities: Green Development LLC and/or GDIM 6 LLC for property located at North Smithfield expressly designated as Plat 12, Lot 136B. Tax stabilization agreement and development agreement by and between the Town of North Smithfield and one or more of the following related entities: Green Development LLC, GDIM 7 LLC, and/or GDIM 8 LLC, property located at North Smithfield expressly designated as Plat 12, Lot 137. In tax stabilization agreement and development agreement by and between the Town of North Smithfield and one or more of the following related entities: Green Development LLC and/or GDIM 9 LLC for property located at 11 Prince Road, designated as Plat 13, Lot 12. They're all up for discussion by council vote or other action.
Can we discuss the motion?
Should have a motion to start.
So a motion for discussion?
Motion for what?
Well, I have a question for David I want to ask, so I need a motion to ask David a question.
No.
Okay, so on the last,
I don't want to speak to the president.
yeah, well, I just want to make sure that it's equal. Okay. So in the last meeting, I did make up that I was going to say that we should reconsider, and you said we couldn't because of the time that it needed to be posted. So I said we would post for the 10/21 meeting. I believe Councilman Zawinski seconded that idea. I sent an email after talking to you to the clerk saying that based on the content of that meeting, Paul and I had co-sponsored an agenda item and was asking to put that on the agenda item. I also put a second item, which was just my own agenda item, to create an OMA sanction or an Open Meeting Act sanction subcommittee that would have a chance to discuss with Green Development some type of ad hoc group. And then the third option, depending on the council's wishes, would be for that these discussions would continue to take place in public. So I guess, one, if it was co-listed, should that have made it onto it? Is that a violation of our bylaws or no? Because I know in the past it has, and it seems like this is a big project to be messing that up.
The president obviously has, under your, not your bylaws, under the rules, has the right to control the agenda. So without changing that rule, the president controls the agenda. Rule 10 required that a motion to reconsider be at the very next meeting. And I was, the president had pointed out that the original motion to establish a ad hoc meeting was several meetings ago. So the opportunity, the only way you could bring it up is either a motion to rescind or a motion to suspend the rules.
So even though that was delayed because it was determined that it was not clear, we delayed that for a vote for full clarity purposes. So in that full disclosure, because I believe that's what I may be vague, but I know you said like to get full clarity on it before that group could meet, we were going to go for a vote and have consideration of that. So that's why I made the motion to reconsider.
I understand, but when you made the motion to reconsider, it was not clear that the committee was established 2 meetings before that,
Okay.
not 1 meeting before.
So it
that.
shouldn't have been off that meeting. It should have been off the 9:30.
It would have been prior to the October 7th meeting.
But there's other ways to do that. Obviously, you could file a motion to rescind, a motion to suspend the rules. There's other motions that can be filed. There's more than one way. But
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I know.
That we weren't using that current moment in that day, because that's the way it came off as. That it was going to be based on that night of 10/7, not the other one. If I had known that we were going to go back to 2 weeks, I would have been more creative in my agenda. So I get it, but I think it's very vague, and
The motion that we consider after the meeting of the 7th was not before us, probably before us. The motion to reconsider had to be done prior to the meeting of the 7th. The vote was on the 23rd. By our own rules, we need to make a motion to reconsider that night or prior to the next meeting, so it can be on the agenda. Otherwise, what would stop a council from going back 3 months from now, and making a motion to reconsider something we did 3 months ago and changing our mind? The motion to reconsider needs to be done prior to the next meeting by our own rules. That's why I talked to the solicitor. He confirmed that, yes, those are our rules. So it wasn't proper before. To answer your other question, if you want to have a OMA sanctioned body to discuss this in public and do it, this is it right here. And based on the comments that Mrs. Zelinski made at the last meeting and that you made at the last meeting, we're going to discuss it right now, right here, in front of all of these folks. We're going to decide the tax stabilization agreement right now in public, right now, tonight.
And that's fine. That's all, I wanted clarity on it, because it seemed that night that it was based on the 7th, not 2 weeks ago.
I know.
And I get that.
And
I get that 100%. That is why I was only referencing that, because I thought it was based on that, because we delayed the vote. Otherwise, why did we even have that conversation?
I thought it was based on the 7th as well, Councilman, when we commented at that meeting.
There was actually no vote on the 7th. It was only for clarification.
I understand that, but the conversation the councilman was talking about is when he asked about the motion to consider, we were under the assumption it was
Based on that,
it was
yeah.
established on the 7th, it was established on the 23rd of September. And that's the issue.
I just wanted to clear up the time.
That's the issue.
So with that, we have tax stabilization agreements and development agreements stated. GDIM 1, 2, 3, 4. Language is similar in every one of them, other than the fact that the location may be different. The nameplate size would be different, which would make the tax payment different because it's based on the nameplate capacity. So tax stabilization agreements are all pretty much boilerplate with those 2 pieces filled in on every one of them. And pretty much the same thing with the development agreements. They're all pretty much the same going all the way through from GDIM 1 LLC to GDIM 9, with 2 pieces being changed, one being decommissioning escrow and the one-time development payment. Those are the 2 issues that change throughout the thing. So I don't think we need to do every single one of them individually. We can't take that action, but I think as we're discussing it, we just need to look at one and then we'll pretty much follow the same all the way down. It's the same agreements that we've been looking at for three months. Nothing has changed from day one. They still continue to be the same ones. Same ones that we discussed at the public hearing. Nothing has changed. There's been no changes to it. We're at the point now where we'll be acting on them, whether we accept them as is, deny them, or make changes that we'd like to see put in. That's where we stand right now.
Mr. President, I would just like clarification on the way this was listed on the agenda. It's under old business page, and it's talk about tax stabilization. I won't read the entire thing. It ends with the Plat a lot. Goes to, starts with A. Goes to B, goes to C, goes to D. And on E, it's finally mentioned discussion by council vote or other actions. It's not clear that that verbiage, discussion by council vote or other actions, actually applies to A, B, C, D. At this point, it's really, I don't want to say it's semantics, I think it might be a very important point that it doesn't address A, B, C, and D, it just addresses E. Mr. Solicitor, can you advise, please?
Mr. Vice President, I think I'm satisfied that paragraph A, B, C, D, and E is being discussed for other action on item 1. They've always, the clerk pointed out to me that on every previous occasion, we have always listed every single one of the items. We've never taken them individual. This entire package has been considered every single meeting in its entirety for discussion, vote, or other action, never individual. But obviously, when we get to a final vote, I would suggest that there'll be, we can put on the top of it, the page, instead of the bottom of it, like the other ones. I mean, I would have guessed, and I think it was because it was previously listed as a public hearing. It was item 1 was public hearing, item 2 was discussion, vote on action. When the public hearing was over, 1 became 2, I think. I think that's what moved up. I think that's the way it moved up, right? But I can check with the clerk before. This has been listed this way every single time, advertised this way in the newspaper, publicized this way, public hearing this way. I'm satisfied. But when the final draft is done, we can put item 1 on top. Make it 1 ABCD instead of ABCD sub 1. I'm satisfied with that. And under all cases, it's clearly listed, clearly enough to discuss any and all circumstances. I don't think that's a problem.
What I would like to get concluded tonight is get finalized language on each of these, that we have agreement. And we'll just use one as the example, that whatever the nameplate is on it, and the additional tax payment, that we come to agreement on that, and as we go through on all of them, that we can put that in there, and the same with the development agreements, the same thing, we come to finalized language on it, that we all agree on what we want, and we give it to the solicitor to make those changes, we bring it back to the next meeting, and we vote on it.
Okay, so we're not voting, we don't have to vote.
Well,
I thought earlier you
well-
said that we were.
Well, I'd like to see us take a vote on this is what we want changed. Then those changes will be put into these agreements,
Yes.
and we would see them as we amended them, that we would see them for the final time and vote on it.
Take it back
With
to
those
the meeting
changes,
to vote.
with those changes made that we vote on tonight, changes that we vote on tonight, we authorize them to put them into the agreement, and then finalized agreement is drafted, and then we vote on it.
So prior to voting on a